Facebook wouldn't let us on. This is my dear beloved sister, Shekina Rose, who I've met in person, who we're very connected to. I don't know at what level, but we're brother and sister to the core. And she's been doing this work in Sedona for 10 years, give or take, working the land every day, connecting to galactics, angelics, divine essences, crystals, sifts, is that what they're called? Sifts, fairies, elementals, you name it. Doing the good work though, like a lot of sisters around the world doing the good work for many, many years before any of this became known.
Yes.
So
yes.
I feel a strong connection today. I think you got some stuff to say about the Blu-ray. So welcome back to Soul Speaks 5D, my dear beloved sister.
Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
You, Todd.
Very welcome.
Thank you so much. Just thank you for just everything that you are and all the energies that you're connecting into and bringing us together. And when I first saw you, what I loved so much about you is your ability to have this inner knowing, this heart connection of aligning out to others, and then bringing a voice to so many that would not have a voice, and that we need to see, like we need to see these other people. We need to see the other aspects.
Yeah.
We need to see the other works and what they're doing, because it's really about the collective.
Yeah.
And the collective work and the mission and the purpose that we've been on for some time, and for that all aligning, working together. Because I've noticed that in my life, and I do have Blu-ray information that I share particularly about them, because I'm a Blu-ray Starseed empath sensitive, and I didn't know what I was when I was younger and when I was little, but I knew I was from the stars, and I didn't learn right, and I had like different connections. And I've shared this before, that in 2008 I was fully downloaded that I was from the Blu-ray, and that was a download. And when I got the download, that meant that I understood the information back, forwards, before and through time. I embodied it, and then that's when I started sharing about the Blu-ray and their characteristics, their mission, their purpose, and ever since 2008. And then since then, it's such a delight, Todd, that to see so many people, so much Blu-ray information out there. There's so much Blu-ray information, and a lot of people don't know where it started, right? It started with myself. I was the first person to bring all of that information out. And since then, people have connected. And it is such a joy, and it's such a treasure, because it's such an amazing connection. And then continuously, I'm so tuned in to the Blu-ray consciousness, and through my empathic connections through Mother Earth Gaia and the consciousness. So I'm bringing forth the latest information, because my purpose and my mission, part of it, Todd, is to assist the ultra-sensitive empath starseeds, particularly the Blu-ray, so that they don't shut down.
Yeah.
That they continue to be who they are in this world. Because it's not so easy to be an ultra-sensitive empath and starseed on this planet, with all of the energies and all of the intensities. Because an empath is feeling and sensing, and a lot of times before we know what's happening, we're taking on the pain and the energy of others.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the Blu-rays, we're natural transformers.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't know what's going on, and that's why we have to spend so much time by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that is when we're able to totally transcend the energies and then come back into like our own divine alignment.
I just did that.
I guess I needed to do that, because I was all these different energies were coming in, and because I want to share about some of the because I didn't get to share last time.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
the Blu-ray, the energy, the symptoms, the ascension. Last time I talked about, the embodiment of, because that was pretty recent, of the devas, an angelic deva, embodying that. But what I also realized is that's what we do at the higher levels, Todd. This is not a natural. This is not a normal. Like, when you get to higher levels and higher frequencies, and when you communicate and connect with these interdimensional, high, pure beings, ascended beings, a lot of times that's how we have our connection, our communion, is we merge our energies.
Yeah.
And and then we become a greater field.
Yeah.
A greater divinity. Like, we're more used to that in our human form with the twin flames, which that is a whole thing in itself, and there's a greater understanding that I'm knowing about that. So that's one area, and see, that's one area that the Blu-ray empath starseeds are so glorious at. We're so glorious at our sensory connection, empathic resonance awareness. And it is a phenomenal gift. It is an extraordinary, divine, spiritual power. Because this is another way that we know truth instantly. It's a language. We know truth instantly, beyond words. We're feeling within our body. Our body is our barometer.
Yeah.
So for the ascension symptoms, because we're in another place again, Todd. We had 2012, and that was certainly an astrological, a celestial, a light worker alignment. Because what I know, what the ascension process is about, is it's an ongoing. This is an ongoing movement that is happening through us. Like, we're allowing this ascension movement through us as we align in with the cosmic and the galactic and the celestial energies, as we allow those energies to awaken these things, this our divine original blueprint. And as we collectively come together, we are the movement of ascension through us.
Yeah.
And it's a continued process. It's working through us. 2012 was so amazing, and we did phenomenal. And what's very interesting, because we're going into another one of those things again, the big shift and the big astrology, because this celestial astrology is working with us. We're going to 2020.
Yeah.
2020, and then to 2025. It's going to be one of those big shifts again. It's going to be like, okay. It's going to be a little bit more gradual, but we're at a whole other level.
Yeah.
What we need to understand is that we made it.
Yeah.
We had a specific correlation, attunement, alignment to occur at 2012. And this is what I'm going to say. We did that.
Yeah.
And in 2012, and I think what people don't understand, of course, there was a lot of hype, and there was a lot of more energy going on of what was expected to happen that didn't happen. However, I didn't feel some of the things were going to happen that a lot of people said were going to happen. I think what happened is that there was so much divinity and momentum building up to 2012 and everything that we did, that afterwards we kind of never came together to find out what happened.
Yeah.
And so there was almost, I saw in some communities and some people for some time, as a letdown. And what I have seen, Todd, now, let's see, in 2019, I cannot believe the amount of people that awakened, fully awakened in 2012. Now, we didn't know that in 2012
Right.
because it was happening. You know, we were doing the work, and we knew we had to be at specific places upon the planet. We knew this was important. We knew we had to you know, be in a certain alignment within our own self and participate into certain connections and meditations. Many of us all over the planet. I was in Sedona.
Yeah.
That's big, but that's when I came to Sedona.
Yeah.
That's like, wow, that's when I came. And many other people came. So a lot happened. The people that I talk to today, some amazing people, you know, and they're at such a high level, they're such an amazing frequency, and they tell me, I awoken in 2012. And then another person will say, yeah, 2012, that's when I woke. 2012, I was like, wow. So we did it. We did so much. And so we're going into another big time. And we're going into a celestial planetary alignment with the cosmos that's working to help us to accept this and usher this in. But I feel what we need to know, Todd, is that we have already accomplished so very much.
Yeah.
All the beings watching right now, I think you have a couple people on that are on all the time. I think there's the woman from UK who she awoke in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So much happened. So we've done well. However, we're at another place, and we are at this particular resonancy, this frequency. And there's a lot of shifts, and there's a lot of changes that we're going through. And one of the things that I want to share about is you're going to be working with a lot of different. You're going to be pulling together a lot of different elements, okay? And a lot of different things that you've been working on, like this over here and this over here, they're going to start coming together and making more sense, and they're going to kind of blend. The other thing is that, again, which I love, is we're doing it with each other.
Yeah.
We're doing it in partners. We're doing it in groups. We're doing it through the twin flame energies. Twin flame energies, what I have known and seen, are a little different than a lot of how it's been portrayed over the years of the twin flame energy. However, and there's also you have twin flame energies, very powerful souls that will come together, and you also have like the shadow twin. And a lot of beings out there probably know about what I'm talking about. Is the shadow twin. And you know, the shadow twin is like your twin flame, that they're ushering in every darkness.
like the goddess Kali.
Yeah.
Like
that you can imagine. However, there's the most intense attraction and connection and spirituality connection that you've ever known in your life as well. So there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables to the twin flame that is occurring now that I didn't even know about. And that is that we can actually manifest and create our twin flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that. Now, this is direct intel you're getting, too, right?
Yes. Now, this is what I have known, what I've experienced, what I've come into, all the things that I'm sharing. I'm a little, Todd, I'm still kind of a little secluded out here.
Yeah, I understand.
In Sedona.
Believe me.
And I keep it that way. And yeah. I keep it that way to a certain extent, so that I can just be so tuned in. So if things come to me from the outside world, and they do, it makes a really big impact. So that you can manifest and create your twin flame. This is what I'm going to tell you. at this particular venture. However, it takes work. It takes going beyond those perceptions and those parameters, and even, and I'm going to say this word because I don't know what any other words, because I didn't do any research. It goes beyond even the genitalia. Okay.
Yeah.
It goes beyond even male and female. However, it can be male and female.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond that too. And you know, we're still kind of working through that, I think.
Yeah.
That male and female thing, and but we can create that, and you have to go beyond your perceptions, and it is some work.
Yeah, it is.
It is a higher acceptance of this other being. I mean, at a really high level, and you gotta let go of a lot of the perceptions and a lot of what you thought how it was going to be. You got to align to like the highest vision of this individual, and both of you have to continuously hold this higher vision with each other.
Yeah.
And continuously see like the highest good, the beauties, and be like in honoring and in gratitude, and just keep seeing and experiencing that in this other individual.
Yeah.
And it may sound simple or small, but let me tell you, it's not.
I can tell you.
And you continuously do that. You continuously do that.
Yeah.
And you continuously stay here for as long as you can.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you the secret.
You know, the thing is, we talk about this. Morgan and I talk about this. The journey of the individual is what you're describing. What you're describing is the same thing that each individual does, which is to let go of absolutely every conception, every identity, every label, every role, every single thing, every belief, and to us, the divine conscious union, it is a lot of work. It is worth it. It's just like our individual journey. It's always hands-on, growth every day, and you just go through it with another person as opposed to yourself, and it's like nothing you can imagine. It's just, but everything has to be stripped away. Every single thing has to be stripped away. Every single conception, including genitalia, including sexuality, including anything from where we've been, because it's mind-blowing, some of the things that we've experienced, and they're not of this world.
They're not of this world, and they're out of this world. And I know that you're doing this, Todd, and you're doing it on quite a level. I mean, you're doing it with, in a male and female, relationship, a married couple, a male and female, and that it's a lot. It's a lot to do. The higher beings are loving this conversation.
Good.
They're just pouring forth the energies, and you're bringing forth a template.
Yeah.
And a frequency. It's really, really important at this time. This other way that you can bring in your twin flame is meditating with at the highest place, with the divine, with the highest level. Every single day, meditating at the highest level. Choosing one time. And this is a lot of work. This may seem like a lot of work, but if you want very powerful results, and you want a twin flame relationship, you can now have that, and it can be women to women. It doesn't necessarily always have to be the romantic male and female relationship. That's what I'm going to share to you.
Yeah.
However, it can be the male and female relationship as well. Like, I think probably more of what you and Morgan have, because you're a married couple, and living your life together. But there's more options now. There's more connections. There's more options now, and that's what I want to kind of share too, is some of those some of the things of we're gonna be being challenged. Okay, so as right now, 2020, we're gonna hit an apex. Then we're gonna continue to ride, and then like more stuff is gonna come up. More stuff is gonna come up, and more things are gonna be challenged, and more things are gonna be challenged within the spiritual new age, whatever community this is, whatever we call it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm a part of. I don't know. I'm an angelic. I'm a starseed. I don't know. But there's also things that we've been taught, or it's been passed around. That's not necessarily in the new age and spiritual community. That's not going to hold anymore either. That's not going to serve us either. And so for that's where that empathic resonance.
Yeah.
It's like you have a truth barometer.
Yeah.
Like if there was like a little knob that went this, like this, this is not truth.
Like this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, because it's not always going to come through the words.
No, I think
words are not always resonating with what a person's true intention is.
Yeah,
it's not always happening, and
that's right.
That's throughout the whole entire world of everything, of our foods we eat, the products, the institutions, all of it. And so we're going to be in a very large time of discerning.
Yeah.
A huge time of discerning, and we're going to have to like let go of everything, it's going to be a lot, in a way that every institution, everything, every
social circle,
everything.
Yeah.
I
think it's we're already seeing hints of that, for sure. And I put up a meme today because I was contemplating on. I was like, it's in these energies, it's a good time to think about who's telling you what about who and why, and who's not. And then I put hashtag ego talks, hashtag soul walks. And what I mean by that is that the words are becoming less and less meaningful unless they are in close alignment or near perfect alignment with truth. And everything that we spit out of our mouths gets a little bit tainted, especially the longer we talk. It's just the way it is. Our mind creeps in no matter who we are a little bit. But I would just say, that would be one thing. I think one thing about this year, what's happening, especially with feminine such as you, are speaking up more. They're coming out and they're speaking their truth. But there's a difference between speaking your truth and speaking it at the expense of somebody else. The truth does not judge. The truth just states the truth. The truth is, Shekina received this download. I'm going to share it with you. This is a transition we're in, and we're moving to a wordless realm, basically. And like you said, we have that truth barometer, and nobody can convince an empath, let's use that word, a super empath, a Blu-ray, or every single 8 billion people on the earth, because they have it in them. Nobody can convince somebody which way their barometer needs to go. We're moving into empowering ourselves versus giving our power over. And the days of giving our power over to the old paradigm, bless it, bless the yogi guru paradigm, bless where we came from, are over. It's over. It's a new day. Somebody said yesterday, in trying to describe these groups, it's the heartfelt community, heart-based community, as opposed to light worker. I like that one.
So do I. I've been working through the higher heart for so long, and every single session I do, we always do an alignment, attunement of the heart. That's how before I do any attunement, before I bring anything forth, we take our higher heart and we go up to our higher mind, our third eye, we actually touch them. And we feel an alignment. And then once that alignment happens, then we can go on and bring in the attunement. It's interesting what you're sharing, Todd. I've seen this in my own self, and it's interesting how you're seeing how the sacred divine feminine and actual particular women that we're sharing more of our truth.
Yeah.
And it's who we are, and it's what we need to share, and it's expanding. And I would say also that there's so much Blu-ray expansion happening as well. I see it in myself. I see how where I was a little bit more like this, or a little bit more like inward, and I see how like the energy is just opening up. There's like more of a platform, and it's on many levels, but it's almost energetically too. Yeah. And I see how I can share more, and I can connect out more, and how and in that I'm seeing how, wow, look at how all this fits together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't know that, and how some of it was me. Like I was holding back, and I was not, I was a little bit like here, and I wasn't opening up the field. And as I opened up the field, it was like, oh, well, this all fits together, like so beautifully, and allowing the energy to expand. So that is some of the things that's going to be happening. I talked about the Blu-ray Wanderers just recently. I've known about them for a very long time.
What is that? Blu-ray Wanderers. What is that?
Yeah, Blu-ray Wanderers. I just put that on YouTube, and I kind of did like a test. I'm like, I'm just going to share about this. I mean, I've known about this for a long time, and so many people connected. So the Blu-ray Wanderers now Blu-rays are water. Okay, they work through the element of water. They work through the element of flow. They work through the element of deep emotion. You can feel so deeply, and again, it's such a beautiful gift. Please don't shut it down. It's a beautiful thing. And so what happens is, we call it the Blu-ray Wanderer stage, is it's kind of twofold. Sometimes we spend our time looking for the home frequency, and sometimes the Blu-ray Wanderer, what happens is, okay, it's happening. It's time for you to move. It's time for you to connect to the sacred sites, to certain particular areas on the planet that have a certain divinity vortex. It's an ancient. They're portals. They're vortex. They're ley lines. They have ancient energies exchange, interdimensional portals. It's where the veils are thinner. Yeah. It's also places where there's more of a stronger, still indigenous connection from the peoples. Yeah. Let's say like Sedona and
or Kauai,
the Native American. Yeah. So there's going to be a time where you don't feel, and it's like it's nothing that you kind of did. Yeah. It's like something that comes into alignment within your soul, and you're being called. Yeah. To leave where you are, because you don't feel the resonancy anymore. Yeah. And you're being called to a certain particular area. And it's usually a vortex, it's a sacred site. Yeah. And I wrote about this actually today, and I'm going to be putting it out as a channel, because I wrote about the places that a lot of times the people will particularly go, that they'll be drawn to go, and they'll be to live. And sometimes they'll live for 6 months, years, longer, shorter. They'll for a shorter amount of time, a longer amount of time. Like Sedona is one of them. The people will come to Sedona. They'll stay for 6 months. They'll stay for a year, 2 years. My one friend just left. She was my anchor. She's been here for, 8 years. But it was for her time to go. Yeah. But you come to this area, and what's happening is you're making a very powerful sacred exchange. within the land, within the vortexes, within their interdimensionals, and within your own self. And you have an awakening. And it's like an acceleration that happens.
Yeah.
And an increased synchronistic meetings, connections all start taking place. And they're usually at the ancient sacred sites. Sedona is one. It's a huge one. Hawaii and the islands is one. There's also, and Mount Shasta is one. There are many. They're in England. They're in Ireland. They're the ones of the sacred divine feminine. And you'll have to travel for a while. And sometimes you won't even know you're home until because you're going to find it through traveling. Yeah. And then you'll stay there for a while, then you'll pick up, and then you'll go to another place. So it's like it's a time period where you have to make these divine alignments.
So when these souls, when these individuals go from place to place, they're activating. Are they activating, or I think you said an exchange? It's more like a sharing, but they're going as a result of that sharing. Is it lighting up the grid more?
Yes, and you could also call them grid workers. You know, there's many grid workers that are, and they're just doing their work, and they're going to all these particular places, and they're working with the ley lines, and they're making the connections, and it's both. Some are specific grid workers, and they know they're grid workers, and then they have to go to this place, and they have to do this particular adjustment. Sometimes you're called to live at a certain place, and to be an anchor at that particular place for that period of time. Now, I am very much that. I've done that a lot. I did it when I was in Florida, in South Florida. I was there for 10 years, and I knew that I was not going to stay there. I knew it wasn't my home. However, I had to wait. I had to wait till I did all my work. I had all these soul contracts. So sometimes you'll go to a place and you'll do a whole bunch of soul contracts. And if you do it and you make the connections, then you get to leave. Yeah. And you get to graduate.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait a whole 10 years. I went there and I knew that I would come back home, and home would be the Southwest.
Yeah.
But I had to wait. And I literally had to wait until I finished up all my contracts. Yeah. And all these things happened. And Mother Earth Gaia called me. She literally called me to Sedona. And then everything kind of opened up and fit into place so that I could come out here.
I can relate.
I know you can relate. And there's this wonderful thing, Todd, you'll love this. You're going to love this. So, and this is not because you did it, okay? When I first moved here, I remember people talking about the Sedona, Hawaii connection.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Kimberly, Sedona, Hawaii connection. A woman in the store the other day, I'm not going to mention her name. She just came back from Hawaii. And a lot of times people will just keep going back and forth, just back and forth, Hawaii, Sedona. So, but it's a particular alignment from Sedona to Hawaii, Hawaii to Sedona, because those are specific particulars. And to Mount Shasta. Sometimes they'll fit in Mount Shasta in there. But you would be so surprised at the numerous amount of people from Sedona to Hawaii. Now, I have done that, and I did that even prior to Florida. And I had to go to all these different places and make all these connections and the grid work line. And then I was stationed in South Florida for 10 years. And then I knew when I came here. And Todd, that's why I don't like go places and travel, because I did so much of that. Yeah. I did so much the grid work, and I went here and I went there. And when I was in South Florida, major things happened when I was there. We had huge shifts. We had 3 hurricanes. 3 hurricanes hit my city.
Wow.
And that was really tough. let me tell you, that was really tough on a Blu-ray empath, because what happened is it needed it. It shook up the energy so intensely, and so much anger came up. And I had to actually leave for a while. I couldn't take it there. I went to Germany. I lived in Germany.
Wow.
Because I couldn't take it. But then I had to come back to this place. So that's a Blu-ray wanderer. And there's just it's a time.
Yeah.
It's a time when you're called to certain areas. Yeah. It's a time when sometimes you're not going to have a real home. Like your home is where you're traveling to at the time.
Where your suitcase is.
Yes. And it's huge. It's a huge time where you shift your energy in ways that you couldn't have imagined before, because the synchronicities are increasing, and the people and the connection, and because you're like a human acupuncture point almost. Like there's things that are happening, through you. Now, not everyone is like that, but I have to say a lot of Blu-rays are like that. Will go through a particular period of their lives where they're being called to go to these different places to live, or they don't know where they're supposed to live because this place isn't resonating with them anymore. And they're so powerfully sensitive. You're so powerfully sensitive.
Or you just, for me, it describes my journey. But I never thought about it that way. But there was obviously places I went that were portals, whether it was in New York City or in the mountains in Arkansas, or living in a pyramid in South Florida for a while. Yeah. So, but
you lived in South Florida for a while?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And a pyramid?
Yeah, I lived in the pyramid for 9 days and I fasted for 3. Yeah, it was a geometric construction. It had all this. It was like a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Wow.
I lived like that. What you're describing, I just didn't know, but it makes sense to me. And I guess what I was saying is, even if the universe supports you, not only are you told where you to go, but the universe supports it. And I think looking back, it was very difficult on the human being aspect.
Yeah.
It really was. But I think things are easier now. I do think things are easier now because of what, people like you've done and many other people. You see a lot of people moving around right now just to go. There's a group of ladies that went to Peru. Grace Solaris and Stellar Farbrain, they went to, I think, Ireland or Scotland. A lot of people are doing that. I just saw a picture of some friends in Israel. They put up a post today. Thank you, Soulogy. Some of us got together here in Israel. So there's that stuff happening too, like you're talking about. Not only is it the geography or the location, but it's also these people that you meet and things that happen in your favor. It's definitely not a normal thing in the the rearview mirror of where we've been. But I think it's some of us maybe are getting used to it, and therefore it'll be easier to assimilate in a wider way through the collective.
Yes. There's a couple of symptoms, ascension symptoms that I went through, that other people went through, that I just kind of want to share because they're kind of a big deal. And this is what I'm going to call it. It's kind of like the phantom death. And it's an ascension symptom. And it's when your energy body really, really shifts. So in the beginning of the year, I think it was in the beginning, I can't even tell time anymore. Maybe it was in the beginning of the year. I'm not sure. But it was so interesting. Very many of us were going through this thing. So I'm sharing this because it was really intense for many people. And it was really interesting because none of us were really telling each other because it was so intense.
When was this? First of the year?
I think it was in the first of the year or the
That
end
would
of the
make
year.
sense. That would make sense. January was very, very intense for us
What
here on Kauai, me and Morgan. Yeah.
was it?
It was, yeah, the whole month. In fact, we landed in this place on February the 4th.
Okay.
So essentially from mid-December to February 3rd, we were all over the place, but most of that time was in January, and we had some incredible times, including that portal that appeared over where we were staying, and we put pictures up, among other things.
Yes, yes. Well, you still may go through this because what's happening, like even astrologically, Kimberly was talking about that. She does amazing Sedona star astrology. It's incredible, her astrology. And she was talking about that a lot of us just went through this major 8-year cycle. And I was one of them. And but now other people are going to be going through this cycle. So now there's a whole new group that's going to go through this. And so what we were going through is that we felt like, I know this sounds like a lot, but we thought we were going to die. And because our energy body was reacting so differently. I remember I was laying on the bed, and I felt my energy body like I had never felt my energy body before. It was like my energy body had come up above me, and I was feeling it differently than I ever had before. And I felt like my energy body was just going to take off, and I wasn't in control of it. And at the same time, a lot of us were going through really intensity on like real physical, real difficult, challenging things, nerve stuff. I remember I had a pinched nerve in my back, which I've never had that. It was like really severe. Some of us was like feeling down to the bone, like we were feeling it in our bones, like that we thought we were dying, because I don't mean to laugh, but because we're over it. But we were feeling so in our bones, like our bones were aching, and we were feeling like we were like 150 years old, and when we weren't. Yeah. But we all got through it. It was a very interesting time, and I even had.
That was going back 8 years. Is that what you're saying?
No. This just happened.
Yeah.
This just happened at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So I even had clients. I remember having clients at the same time. Now I had just gotten through mine, and I remember having a client, and she says to me, you're booking me for like a whole week, and that's really soon for me. Booking a whole week, that's real soon for me. And she says, well, I don't think I'm going to be around. I may die, and because I'm going through all this stuff. And I tuned into her energy, and I said, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. You're going through this very much intense energy. And so we did have our session, and it was fine, and we got through it. So, but there's a period where now I always say, please check in. You may need to go to your healthcare practitioner. And I have different naturopathic remedies. I do natural doctors and different things at different times. There's all kinds of different things. So do go and seek help, or at least, tell another person, because there were many of us. It was really kind of cute. There was many of us that were being really quiet about it, and we were afraid. Some of us were afraid we were going to leave the planet. But secretly, I remember telling one of my friends, I said, gosh, I feel like I'm going to die. My energy's like this, and at night I'm just going to take off. I feel like I've never felt this way before. I'm outside my body, and I know in any moment I'm going to take off, but I don't know if I'm going to come back. And then this person shared. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this too, but this is what I'm going through. And then I heard another person, then another person. So this is something, and it's because it's like you're having an energetic auric transition. It's like you're having a transition. That's an interesting word. Energetic transition. But you're probably not leaving. You're probably going to be staying here. It's just a shift. Now, for all of us, I also want to say, for all of us, it didn't last a really long time. So if this ever lasts a long period of time, if this ever lasts like, weeks on end, please go to your healthcare, provider, whoever that is. But it didn't last that long. But when it was going on, it felt really extreme and really powerful. So we're having so many, we're still having so many shifts, Todd.
Yeah.
So many, like actual physical resonancy awareness, ascension symptoms shifts.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd, we're so brave and we're so courageous because we just don't know, we don't know the other side. We're so brave and courageous and precious and beloved just for coming here, Todd.
That's right.
I mean, really, all the blue rays, all of us coming here and going through the veil.
Yeah.
We're like, that's amazing. Like, we're going to be totally cut off. Like, we're going to it's like we're landing in a complete foreign land.
Yeah.
We don't have any connections. They're all gone.
It's like
we're going.
You parachuted in and with a little toolbox.
Yes, and we're all, and we're just all such beautiful spirits because I have to tell you, because so many people want to go home. They want to go home, and let me tell you, you'll be home soon enough. We're such connected, gorgeous, beautiful, beloved beings, Todd.
Yeah.
We just could not know what it was like once we came and we hit the veil.
Yeah.
We just didn't know. And we were so powerful. We were so equipped in every single way that we knew that we could do this.
Yeah.
And that we had absolutely every single thing, every single quality.
Yeah.
That was required and that was needed.
Do you think that when you go back to January and you're talking about the things that were happening with the body, to me, it's like we were lighter. You were lighter, and you're talking about like leaving your body when you go to sleep. Do you think that that's going to be more enhanced, or when we go into dream state, have full memory of what we're doing multi-dimensionally? Full recall. I'm going to sleep now. I'm leaving my body. I'm going into dimension, which we know we do that, and we have some fuzzy memories of it sometimes when we wake up.
I feel yes and no. Some are. It's also part of your mission and your purpose. Some have more recollection of this than they did before.
Yeah.
And across the board, yes.
Yeah.
Across the board, and across the board too. The other thing that's happening in our dream state that I love, it's been happening for a while, like years now, is that we're really working with each other on the other levels.
Yeah, I can see that.
In the dream state, because I'll have people like email me and call me, and I think you said something to me like, I dreamt about you. People who don't know each other, they're dreaming about each other and they're working together.
Yeah.
Even if they can't come together, they don't live in the same vicinity. Yeah. Like, we're doing so much because we're such divine masters. Yeah. We certainly are. And what you said about, we've become lighter.
Yeah.
I've noticed a huge shift since January for myself personally. Yeah. I've become so much lighter since January. I mean, January was like, whoa, put on the bricks or something. like the energy body was like heavy. because you go through that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Where the energy body's so
That
heavy.
was heavy. That was heavy.
Heavy.
But it seems to me this year that for me anyway, it's been there has been, you know, little fragments of recollection, but the knowing that I've been really busy at times for 2-3 weeks at a time in the ethers and dream state, really busy. And then what you said about we're communicating, obviously we're communicating in what we call dream state, and it's like the memory or the feeling or the impression of those communications come out the next day. I mean, it happens to me in my work, and I observe it in other people. Other people talk about it, but just like that friend I was telling you that I'm going to introduce you to, she dreamt of you, and you know, so I mean, there's without even knowing who you were until she saw you on the show. You know.
That happens.
Yeah.
That's happening, and people don't know this person, or they get this name and they'll research it and they'll make the connection. You know, this year, thus far, it always goes by really quick. I can't imagine that we're going to be we're in May and we're going to be in June, but this year has been incredibly amazing and life altering, probably forever, because of the the devas, the angelic devas, and working with the sylphs and the devas and the crystals, and working with the elements. You know, there's as we, we're going to have different ways in which we're going to continue on with our mission, and we're going to help. And I am just, I feel so much more joy. I can tell you that, with being a part of, because this is what happens is that we're coming into less separation.
Yeah.
Okay, Todd. And the way, we had those words. We have these words, these concepts that we haven't fully downloaded yet, or we haven't become it yet.
Yeah.
Oneness, unity, connection. I'm starting to experience that.
Yeah.
But not in ways that I thought.
Exactly.
Working with the water, knowing who the water is, the crystals, and how the crystals work with the devas and the nature elements, and these very high, pure beings. They're pure beings that still hold this gorgeous information, wisdom for humanity. They still do. They exist. And, I was feeling in the crystals. The crystals, they resonate out. They have the crystals. They have this pure energy.
Yeah.
They still have, regardless of what's happened with our consciousness with humanity. These white light crystals still have pure divinity energy. They have this for us. So that's a part of us. Like, I am more crystal. I've become more crystalline within my blood, within my being, by working with the crystals. That means that I have a greater resonancy to work with these crystals, and to work with all of the crystals. And to work with all of the crystals in this land, Todd.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised a week ago or a couple weeks ago when I was meditating, and I love the crystals so much. I can't help it, because it's like I'm one with them. And I'm meditating, and I'm holding my crystal that I hold my crystal every night, and I meditate. And I said, I love you, crystals. I love you. And I heard them. I heard all the crystals reverberating like an echo. I love you. And it freaked me out at first.
Was that right?
It freaked me out. Yes.
Well, how long ago was this?
This is only a couple weeks ago. Weeks ago, because this was after I embodied the angelic deva angel, and I heard him.
Wow.
I saw him. All
Wow.
the crystals are reverberating just what I said. On and on and on and on and on through all the crystals.
Wow.
And I took back and I went, wow. So you know what that is? You know how extraordinary that is?
Yeah.
This is what we talk about of, our words create reality and instant manifestation. This is what's happening. This is what's happening, Todd. This is where we're going. Is our words in alignment of connection with our higher heart are instantly manifesting. And we're seeing what we're creating more quickly. And we're becoming, hopefully, better creators upon this planet and knowing our divine power. I mean, working with the crystals and working with the water, I see the water and the crystals, and I am working with that. And I'm working with the energies that's coming forth, and some things have come to my attention because we do, Todd, we talk about the two different timelines. Todd, there is.
Yeah.
And it's by the choices and the energy frequency that you're on.
Yeah.
And you know how we know that, Todd? Because it's extremely evident in our world. Now, I'm not on the computer. I don't know what's going on, but I do know what's going on. Certain ways, because certain energies will come to me. Like all the people that are taking their lives. I don't know why, but that's coming to me. And I'm being alerted of that. And I'm being alerted of certain things. So there's different timelines. And there is the new earth. We are in the new earth, and we're creating the new earth. We're on it. However, there's a lot of people that are not on it. They don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time. And so what I'm doing is I am working with the water and the sylphs and those divine beings with the crystals to assist with clearing the thought forms and working with, yes, I've got I got the technologies from the devas. The devas gave me the technologies to work within the water, to work within the own biological system of your water, and working with the thoughts. Because the sylphs help. This is interesting. So you know that we're told, and I believe this, that they're not going to necessarily do things just for us. The pure beings, these devas, these sylphs, they are pure energy beings. But they're not going to just arbitrarily go around and do things. It's like everybody has this purpose.
Yeah.
When I go down to the water now, I'm more connected to nature. I have more resonancy to commune and connect with them. When I go down to the water, I get the water. I get it. It's like the water is the water. It's supposed to be the water. Now, it's not going to arbitrarily just transform itself. It's I don't know if I can just describe this right. Because it's like this is who it is. It's like a bee is a bee. And it's going to be a bee. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the water is going to be the water. But we can shift and transform that water. And by us working with the water consciously through the devas, we can shift the water and work with the different beings.
Yeah.
But a lot of the water, sadly to say, has been polluted. And a lot of the water is not pure and alive. And that affects us in a huge, big, tremendous way. However, we have the divinity and we have the power to shift that. Yeah. And it's easier than